Welcome back to the Pozcast, where every episode, my brother and I rewatch one of our favorite movies of all time. We break it all down, we discuss, reminisce, and hand out some awards. This one, a very special one, Bobby. We're literally to the day, the 30th anniversary of Braveheart coming out. Came out on May 24th of 1995. Oh, right on the dot here. Starring and directed by Mel Gibson, and this one was a blast to rewatch. I will tell you this, Bob. This is one of the movies that at some point in my life was my favorite movie of all time. Now, it has since been replaced by Gladiator and a couple others maybe before that. The DNA of this movie is all over Gladiator. You can see it as you watch it. I think Gladiator just kind of took this movie and just made a better version of it. But it's one of these movies where I remember walking out of the theater and just being blown away, like, wow, I can't believe what I just saw. This was kind of the beginning of that, sword epic kind of period piece type of movies that came out. Bobby, what'd you think on the rewatch? And is Gladiator still your favorite movie, or has Interstellar replaced it?
I think Interstellar is my favorite movie. I mean, after doing that rewatch, and this was more nostalgic than anything. I remember it being that double VCR cassette at the movie at the movie store when we used to go get it. I don't remember any real big epic war time period piece movies before this. I didn't dive deep to figure out, hey, was I missing one? But this was one of the movies that after you saw it for the first time, you said, that's my favorite movie of all time. I mean, this was way up there. We used to debate Braveheart versus Gladiator. And after rewatching it and after doing this podcast, I don't think it's in the top, I don't think it's in the top 5, but it's in the top 10. It's in the top 10 of our movies. We ranked it in the top 10. And where it's good and where it's supposed to be good, and we say this a lot about these top level movies, where it's good, there's nothing better. Too long, it just is. I don't know whether it's just age or whether, again, I still love doing this, but you have to be like, okay, I've got to go watch Braveheart this week. And oh, by the way, we've got family and work and kids and all this. Now, a flight saved me for sure. This was a great time to have a 4-hour flight out to Phoenix because I got all this in and all my notes in. But I found myself fast forwarding a lot of parts. There's a lot of slow parts, but that's okay. I mean, it's not, when you pop it in and it's 3 hours, it's not going to be 3 hours of absolute perfection. But where it's good, it is unbelievable. And I want to talk a lot about Mel Gibson. What an arc this guy has had, and where he stands in pop culture now. I don't even know where he stands. A lot of positives, some negatives that are undebatable that they're negative, but man, he was so good in this movie. So good.
So good. Yeah, made to play the role. We have to address the runtime. I think it was the first thing I texted you was like, you know what? It's 40 minutes too long. And I think the 40 minutes of the beginning, it really takes a long time to get going. In my opinion, once you get past kind of the run-up to when Murrow gets killed, his wife, he's just on a tear after that. Probably could have tightened that up if that's my one criticism of it. Like, give me a narration, give me a couple flashbacks, give me a montage, but just get me to him being William Wallace a little bit quicker. We'll dive into some of the historical inaccuracies of this thing, which was kind of disappointing to read through it. I don't know how much we're going to spend time talking about it, but this thing, look, Bob, let's just run through it here. Box office, $209 million, number 14 worldwide. Any idea what was number 1 that year? Maybe, kind of in that Mel Gibson range. The guy was the starring
in 1995?
Number 1 movie that year.
Jeez, I hate it. I stink at guessing this. What is it?
Bruce Willis, Die Hard with a Vengeance, which I think is better than Die Hard 2. It's kind of the weird. Die Hard is exceptional. Die Hard 2, okay. And then Die Hard with a Vengeance, I think is kind of underrated third movie, right?
Yeah, it's kind of Samuel L. Jackson's coming out party. Remember, I think we did some research that he kind of fell into that role, and then that launched him to getting other roles. I love Die Hard with a Vengeance. For sure.
Another movie that you love, Bob, was number 2 that year, Toy Story. Will that be the one animated flick we do on this podcast?
No, I would do way more animated flicks than you. I mean, The Croods is an exceptional movie. Moana, the first Moana, it's a great, great movie. And then the greatest animated movie of all time is, Wild Robot, which just came out last year. It's exceptional.
Maybe we'll do Animation Month. 1995, Bob. Great year of movies. Listen to some of these movies that came out in 95. Apollo 13. 7.
Incredible.
Heat.
Incredible.
Crimson Tide, which we have covered, and Usual Suspects, which we have covered. All of those movies we're going to hit at some point.
Mark, I graduated high school. Mark, is 1995 the greatest year of all time?
The Mariner Tritons, that's got to be the best year. That's when they peaked, right? Is that the peak of the Mariner Tritons?
That's where they peaked.
10, count them, Bobby, 10 Academy Award nominations, 5 wins, including Best Picture, Best Director. Now, I'll give you this question now, Bob, because I know how much you love Apollo 13. This beat Apollo 13. It was kind of a two-horse race. You sticking with that? Best Picture of 1995, Apollo 13 or Braveheart? What do you got?
No, I think it's Braveheart. But if you say, hey, I don't think I'm fast-forwarding any parts of Apollo 13, right? It's been a while since I've seen it. But no, this is it. I mean, this is a classic, iconic movie. Anybody that's over age 21 has to have seen Braveheart, right? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know,
but I would agree with you. You ask people our age or kind of in similar, hey, Braveheart, they're going to go top 10 movie ever. I mean, it's just kind of in that. Yeah. I will ask you to relitigate this one, Bobby. Best Actor in 1995. Would it shock you that Mel Gibson wasn't even nominated for William Wallace?
I don't know if it would shock me. Go ahead, give me the nominees. Do you have the nominees?
Well, no, I got the winner because I knew you'd love this. Nick Cage, Leaving Las Vegas, which is a downer of a movie. But what do you think's better, William Wallace or Nick Cage in Leaving Las Vegas?
I think it'd be William Wallace, and I would think there would be some others just based on those movies that you said. Yeah, that's the fact that Nicolas Cage has an Academy Award for Best Actor and Tom Cruise doesn't. Seems like a little bit of a miss, doesn't it?
Speaking of Tom Cruise, Bobby, this weekend I've got my tickets, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. I cannot wait to see it, and I will say this. Do you ever watch Pat McAfee, Bob, on ESPN, really. his show? So he has Tom Cruise on this week. Now, look, he gets a lot. McAfee is a star, right? Big ratings, so he gets a lot of people that come on there. And generally, when you interview some of these guys that are promoting a movie, it's like they don't want to be there. Cruise is on there for 45 to 50 minutes, not just answering questions, he's diving into it. He might be the guy that loves doing what he does more than any human on the face of the earth. The passion this guy has, I honestly feel like if I didn't go to the movie, I'd be letting down Tom Cruise. He's like so into it. He's talking about the popcorn, the soda, get to the theater early, get your surroundings in. Where do you want to sit? He's just loves this. And McAfee, I guess, is going to be doing a cameo in some movie. And he asked Tom Cruise, hey, you got any advice for me? Cruise goes on for 20 minutes. He's like, all right, tell me about the movie. What's your part? And he's just telling him all this stuff. And he loves it. And he dissects this hanging off the airplane stunt that he does to such degree. It's incredible. Bobby, buy tickets or Tom Cruise will be disappointed.
I know. And does Tom Cruise love acting and making movies more than you love doing this podcast? Is that true?
Yes, he does. This guy loves, and he said, they go, well, Tom, how much longer are you going to do this? And he goes, well, I'm going to live to 110, which I have no doubt this guy's going to be 110. And he's like, I will be doing movies to the day I die. And one of the guys on there goes, that's good, Tom, because I do not want to live in a world where Tom Cruise is not making movies. I think I agree. That's my statement.
Jeez, holy cow, you love yourself some Tom Cruise.
Can't wait. I'm going to be entertained.
What are these actors doing with their faces, though? I get the Botox. I heard the story, or maybe it was on TikTok or something, of how Kris Jenner, the mom, I guess she's got a new face. That's the way they described it, a new face. They basically it's like Face Off. They just cut all around, and they just put and just I don't know what they do. The long-term effects, there has to be some issues. Has to be some long-term effects. But Tom Cruise's face, yes, he looked young, but now it just looks different, doesn't it? Ryan Gosling, Zac Efron. What are these people doing? Can't we just age like Gene Hackman? And when you see him at 90, you're like, good God, what happened to that man?
There is something to aging gracefully. I don't know. Look, I'm imagining Tom Cruise spends a lot of time in a hyperbaric chamber, a lot of red light, a lot of cold plunge, a lot of, maybe that's just where you're supposed to age. He's getting younger. But it is something. What got me to thinking a little bit, Bob, before we're going to dive into a little bit of the historical problems with this movie. Not much, because I didn't want to get into it too much.
You can wrap it up. None of it. It's all.
Yeah, Yeah,
There wasn't William Wallace. There wasn't Robert the Bruce. The Scots did get their freedom. He was drawn, hung, quartered, his head sent to London Bridge. That all happened. But I think everything else was made up.
Yeah, it was funny. You know, when we did The Big Short, remember there was that quote, shockingly accurate is what it said about The Big Short.
Oh, did you go to your website?
Yeah, this one, Bobby. It said it's the most historically inaccurate movie of all time. But then I started diving into it, and this is what they were nitpicking on it. So it got me a little annoyed. It was like, the dates are all wrong. Characters, names, those don't match up. The clothes aren't accurate. The face paint, not invented at that point. And I'm like, well, who cares, right? Like, some of this stuff is like, now the big beef, and I guess if you are the great, you know, whoever of Robert the Bruce, you'd have a little bit of an issue with this movie because it does not paint this guy very well. Apparently, Bob, did you know Robert the Bruce is actually Braveheart? Like, the nickname Braveheart is Robert the Bruce. I didn't know that until I started reading it.
I didn't know that, but I knew that well, the ending of the film is him leading them, but it's like almost like a side note.
It is a side note. Robert the Bruce takes a bad
Wallace. Now bleed for me.
Exactly. So where the term comes from is after Robert the Bruce dies, his like group of dudes with him takes his heart into battle, throws it, and that's the Braveheart that they go in. That's the Braveheart. And so the big thing about this movie is that Robert the Bruce turns on William Wallace. Oh. They say that's not accurate. They say it's some guy named James. Oh no, James Douglas is the guy that took him into battle. There's this other guy, his assistant, that actually turned on William Wallace. But what they do say is Robert the Bruce did change sides a few times, right? He did side with Longshanks a few times. So I was like, I kind of stopped going down too much of the road because I didn't want it to ruin my memory.
Mark, it is yet another, and maybe this is just a theme in every movie that I just haven't realized. You know, if they could put you in the stance of what would you do, right? We've talked a lot about these in this last couple podcasts. Like, if you're Robert the Bruce, what do? You got land, you got title, you got a good life, you've got this. Do you turn and go to battle in a war you're most likely going to lose? You're either going to die, or then you're out on the street. It's like, what do? It's not as easy as, hey, I'm going to charge into battle. Like, it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
No, it is definitely not. Speaking of redeeming himself, we just did Hell or High Water with Chris Pine, and we lamented how pretty he was. Did you ever see The Outlaw King, Bob, which was kind of this quote-unquote sequel to this movie where Chris Pine plays Robert the Bruce, and it picks up the events right after Braveheart, and it does a better job of explaining who Robert the Bruce was. Ever see it?
No, is it Braveheart 2? Why, really?
No, The Outlaw King.
No, I understand, but what you're saying, it's basically Braveheart 2.
Very similar, yeah. It's kind of like a sequel to it, unofficial sequel to it. It was like a Netflix movie or something like that, but pretty good. But
Listen. We just were talking about Scottsdale, Arizona. I mean, the most beautiful people you've ever seen live in Scottsdale. I would imagine Chris Pine lives in Scottsdale. He is a fantastically handsome man. Holy cow.
He is. I think it was during the Django podcast, Bob, where you kind of said, all right, best director, actor, like, who was it? It was a cool one, but it was kind of like, Tarantino's in his movies. So I went a little bit step further, unless maybe you did this, Bobby, but starring, kind of like this Mel Gibson, he actually pulls off the Triple Crown because he produced it as well, which is what he does a lot now because he has, I think he's got enough money from all this stuff where he just make his own movies. Like his, the big follow-up he's got coming out to Passion of the Christ, Bob, he's working on it now about the resurrection. He completely funds all of that because no studio would do it. I'm sure it'll do really well. But here are some of the greatest director, and I'm talking starring and directing of all time. Tell me what you think is the best, Bob. A Bronx Tale, Robert De Niro stars and directs. Unforgiven, of course, Clint Eastwood. Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner. The Town, Bobby, Ben Affleck. Tropic Thunder, Ben Stiller directed that movie. Started it. A Quiet Place, Jim from The Office. And then, Bobby, probably the leader in the clubhouse, Don John, James Gordon-Levitt, starred in... What's the best star and direct movie of all time?
Well, I think it has to be...
Or this one. Braveheart is obviously...
Yeah, it's either Clint Eastwood or Braveheart because they won Best Picture. Unforgiven won Best Picture, right? If I'm remembering.
They did. Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
So how do you argue with that? I guess the only the only way you could top that is if you acted and directed and won Best Picture and Best Actor, which hasn't happened according to my research. But so yeah, I think it's between Braveheart and Clint Eastwood. And we'll
Go to Braveheart. All right. To the shock of no one, there will be no helicopter rating here. This is well before, although, Bobby, it wouldn't have been inaccurate had William Wallace took out a straw and drank something.
Yeah, because famously in Django, I couldn't believe they had straws, and I said, "There's no way they invented straws." And then we found out they were invented in 4000 BC.
What do you got, Bob? This thing had to have cleaned up in Scotland.
Along that same lines, I was so curious as to when golf was invented. Because I just wanted them to be on the battlefield, and then like a couple miles away, there's guys playing golf, but it's way after. The golf was invented like 1600s. This was in the late 1200s to 1300s. That's what I wanted. Go ahead.
Speaking of golf in Scotland, have you ever heard the bit about Robin Williams explaining how golf was invented in a Scottish accent?
I think I have.
YouTube it immediately right now. Stop the podcast. Pause it. Go out. But when we get done with this, Bob, go check that out. It's hilarious. Is
that the most YouTubeable moment of the movie? Is that with Scotland?
Yeah.
So this movie rated R for what, Mark?
Flashing lights, nudity, flashing lights, and language, maybe gore, violence.
A touch of violence. I remember this was the first movie where like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they can show a guy getting his head bashed with one of those things. I have the name of that tool, by the way. And legs cut off, and that reindeer horn stuck right in the guy's. I mean, this was as gory as it got back in 1995. But flashing lights. So I told you I was going to do this. I thought if I just Googled, hey, why do movies have flashing lights? Was there some class action lawsuit? And there's nothing, Mark. There's nothing to report. It's just like, hey, yeah, epilepsy. Where was the flashing lights in this movie, Mark? Or should I put this to rest and never bring this up again?
Yeah, it's one of Bob's beefs. Look, the only lights are fire that occur in this. The electricity not invented, famously.
Famously, no helicopters and no electricity. Therefore, no flashing lights. I just don't understand it. IMDb number 80, top movies of all time. I think that's
80. Come on,
80. That's got to be low. It's in our top. It's in our top 10 in our list, or top. I think top 13 in our list. Here's what I would say about the Braveheart, and I couldn't, for whatever reason, Google couldn't do it. I wanted to do a Hall of Fame plaque of the double VCR. I love that double, big thick one. I remember Heat had it, and I remember Casino had it. I remember Braveheart had it. I wanted there's the Hall of Fame plaque 3. Best dual cassette rental: Braveheart, Casino, or Heat.
I like Braveheart the most out of those three.
Okay, yeah. All right. It was it was good. The awards, it got best foreign film from the Jupiter Awards, which we all know is Germany. I mean, we've gone through this a lot, but very critically acclaimed. I've got a Hall of Fame, or I've got a Bob's Big Question on most critically acclaimed movies. Braveheart didn't make the top 5, but it was amazing how critically acclaimed a kind of a gory 3-hour movie made by Mel Gibson was. But not a lot of foreign awards. You know, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Danish, they didn't love this movie. They didn't give a lot of awards, but very, very critically acclaimed. So I'm looking forward to talk to it. We got to get going. Me and you both have a lot of notes on this movie.
Yeah, big scenes here. Can't wait to hear what you think is the best. I will point out again, I think if you go back and rewatch this, just fast forward to about 40 minutes until Murren gets killed, which should be the first, I think, notable scene. Did you like anything that happens?
I think the backstory. I think the backstory has to be told.
That's true.
Walking in, because Longshanks, you know, a flag of truce under Longshanks, no thanks. Because under a flag of truce, they got all the Klansmen, the head Klansmen, together and hung them and burned them, and basically hung them. They didn't burn him, and he saw that with his dad and brother. So that kind of plants the seed of he's never going to take the English for their word, and he's a man of. And then I love. His uncle coming in, Kendall Roy. Yeah, it was Kendall Roy.
Logan Roy.
Or Logan Roy. Yeah, not Kendall. No, not Kendall. Logan Roy coming in and taking him under his wing and have him becoming culture and learning and wanting to be a peaceful man. But then, you know, once you push him, he's done. So yes, it's too long, but seeing that as a kid, I think you have to set the groundwork for that.
Good point. Good point. Well, what do you think, Bob? I had one, about 5, 6, just really, really awesome scenes, like very memorable in the history of movie scenes. How'd you pick a favorite?
You want me to pick the favorite or do the honorable mentions? You want me to tell you my favorite?
Go with your favorite.
Yeah, the favorite is Mirren almost gets raped. He kicks him. They start a little bit of fight. He sends her on her way on the horse, and then she gets jacked in the mouth, and eventually goes on a post and gets her throat slit. And then everything slows down, and it's like a flute or drums and a flute. It's just
yeah.
And then he walks back in slow motion. The guy grabs the horse. He knows he's not. Come on, don't be the first one to grab the horse. And he comes down on him, hits him, and then a battle ensues. And these townspeople were just waiting for this moment that, all right, here it goes. No hesitation. We're going after it. And then probably, I don't know, maybe I'm getting too nerded out on this, but when he puts the magistrate on it and he takes out the knife and there's a pause and he looks at him and he looks at William Wallace and like, there's no way you're going to slit my throat. And then boom. And then he kind of slumps his shoulders because he knows this is not going to go well. But I don't know how there can be a scene better than that. There's some battle scenes for sure. The ending is good, but I think that's the best scene.
Yeah, I mean, the revenge tour, the rebellion begins. I mean, you see it right there. It is real. I had forgotten kind of the slowdown, the music, the fire, him kind of coming in on that muddy horse. You just
mud. It's so good. It's so
excellent. Good. I definitely had that scene written down. For my favorite, probably just because it's the most memorable one, is the battle at Stirling, where he basically announces himself, I am William Wallace. And you get one of the all-time scenes on a horse, the rally cry, right? Like, this is the DNA of all of these movies that follow. You think about Lord of the Rings, you think about Gladiator, all these speeches. This is the Godfather, I think, of all of those. You get fight, and you may die, run, and you'll live for a while. But what if you had one chance to come back to this moment? And then, Bob, maybe the most popular one. They may take our lives, Bob, but what will they never take?
They'll never take our freedom!
I mean, that's up there.
Oh, I was going to read it all. I've got it right here. It's an amazing. How does everyone hear him? I don't know about that little question. They're like, huh? What? What did he say? So maybe a little question there. He said that I thought it was so cool how the horse would race. Turns out when he would scream, the horse would race. And they just left it in there because, and again, how does Mel Gibson know how to ride horses so cool? I don't, we talked about
this
that.
in Django.
Yeah, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. I love the guy's like, what is it? The guy says, fight against that? No, we will run. We will win.
Did you notice who that was, Bob? A very young version of Old Man Snell from Ozark.
Oh, jeez, good pull. Yeah. Good pull there.
I was like, who is that guy? Yeah,
I think that's the second. I love the rock fight between him and Hamish in when he first introduces himself. I just love all the women and his dad, Hamish's dad, who I love in this movie.
Incredible.
He goes, he'll move, and he just, that's a great one. I love Longshanks throwing Philip out the window. He goes, I've appointed Philip my military council. Oh, tell me what you'll do. He puts his arm and just chucks him, and he's flat on the ground, and those guards run over there, and they look up, and they see Longshanks, and they just turn around like nothing happened. I love that. And then the last scene, which we'll talk, well, it's not technically the last scene, but the torture scene, the execution scene, just incredibly done, incredibly emotional, really, really good.
Really emotional. I had forgotten how powerful that ending scene is. Yeah, of the ones that you mentioned, a lot of them, the battle at Falkirk, right, where they initially kind of, the Irish trick him, Longshanks thinks is with him, and then they shake hands, and then they get together. But that's the big betrayal, right, where Robert the Bruce, technically, now I got it written here, John Menteith, Bob, is the guy that actually betrayed William Wallace. No run. Robert the Bruce takes it. I've
always hated John Menteith.
Yeah, who how can you not? And Lachlan and Mornay also betray him. He waves the flag, they bail away, but you get a great scene after that where he takes his revenge. I have a question for you, Bobby, just to piggyback into that. You know when he kills, I think it's Mornay kills, and then that horse and him jump out of. Does the horse survive that fall into the water?
Well, it's a plastic horse, which is the biggest miss of the movie. The horse stays in the same position the whole way. I think it's in my worst decisions to leave that plastic horse in there. It just takes me out of the movie so much. But no, Mark, the horse does not survive that fall.
So worse plastic / mannequin jump. You got Harrison Ford, The Fugitive, or this one, which is the worst?
Well, man. That's the Hall of Fame plaque of Hall of Fame plaques. Just both so bad. So bad. I would have rather them thrown a real horse out there and sacrificed the horse.
Unbelievable. Any other scenes, Bob? I think we've kind of hit on the 5 or 6 kind of main things. We've got to get into quotes because for a period of time, Bob, we said these quotes quite a bit. In the memorable echelon of quotes, this movie is right up there, probably just for me and you. But you want to hit them, Bob? I mean, the Scottish accent, you're pretty good at it.
And you. I mean, that's the takeaway. That's the takeaway. I love ya. Always have. I want to marry ya. Every man dies. Not every man really lives.
Is this the genesis of that quote?
Oh yeah, every man dies, not every man truly lives.
Okay, I mean, this is where that started. I could, because that's a very popular quote. You know?
Has to be. Well, that's something that we shall have to remedy, isn't it? I mean, when Mary can't do something or the kids can't do something, that's something we shall have to remedy, isn't it? I love outlawed tune on outlawed pipes. That'll come out every once in a while. Like you'll be playing a song with the kids. And it says like a cuss word. I'll always into my mind the outlawed tunes on outlawed pipes. I love that. I love Stephen the Irishman. More to come on him.
Wow.
The Lord's pretty sure he can get me out of this mess, but he's pretty sure you're fucked.
He's great.
And then he says, "It's my island." And then the one that's probably said more than all these is hold. Hold. You hit a shot and it's just you cut it and there's wind right, left to right. Hold.
Oh my! And I will always love that. Love that state. And then obviously freedom. The big belting out of freedom at the end, and then the big speech. The "I am William Wallace" one is they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. Yeah. That's up there, man. That's up there with "May the Force be with you. I'll be back." I mean, that's a classic line, right?
It's an incredible. I probably use the word iconic a little too much, but they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. Is as iconic as it gets.
Huh? What's he saying?
What do you say about freedom?
All right, man. It's been 30 years.
I can't hear you in the back.
Yeah, I don't know how they figured that out back in the day. 30 years, Bobby. Hard to believe we're getting old. A lot of this movie held up. I'll tee it up. You get a little narration, right? You get Robert the Bruce talking. You get William Wallace. I love it, Bobby. But what do you got? I got tons of things that hold up for this movie.
I mean, does prima nocta hold up? I mean, does that hold up?
Turns out that wasn't a thing.
It wasn't. Well, it was in France. Did you see that on the mainland? It was a thing. It was never a thing in Ireland. And I mean, it's basically the reason for the rebellion. I mean, men and sex, like it's just our downfall. It really, really is. The whole movie.
A man's world. You know what's so funny, Bob? Last night, I'm watching The Office. Michael Scott declares prima nocta, and then Jim tells him what it means, and his facial expressions are just unbelievable. But he declares prima nocta in The Office, not knowing what it meant.
That's incredible. I like marrying your kid to a rival. A little preview to Bob's big question is I'm going to ask you, who would you marry your daughters off to get like a negotiation leg up,
Yeah, nice.
Looking good on a horse. Maybe it's not the body because I told you needed to lose 180 pounds to look good on a horse, which is still true.
No, that was to look good in the hat. Look good in the cowboy hat. You said I needed 180 pounds.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Horse, maybe it's the fate. I don't know. It's still a mystery there. That's what holds up. The mystery of who looks good on a horse and who doesn't look good on a horse. You know what holds up? The conversations you have with your wife after you discipline your kids. So William Wallace asks Muriel out on a date, and they're like, no, she can't come. And then they're like, no, she can't come, blah, 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 blah. And then she leaves, and the woman's like, she takes after you. I just wear Sam out. And then when Mary and I are in a bedroom, we kind of laugh. Can you believe that knucklehead did that? I love those conversations after that. Tommy Flanagan is the scarred guy that is just perfect casting. And you know what it's called? It's called the Glasgow smile. That big scar is called the Glasgow smile.
That's Cicero from Gladiator.
That's right. And and he looks perfect in that. He looks perfect in that. You know what holds up? Men. Just men. A man's man. Just taking part in a rebellion that 99 times out of 100 is just not going to work. It's going to be painful and death, but just men do it. Unfortunately, what holds up is political bullshit. They win this war that they never should have won, and then they're immediately with their wine and this and William Wallace is just like, what are we doing here? Same scene. So you've got all these it's almost like the Senate in Gladiator, those guys, and they got their, you better recognize this. They're basically, wusses. And they won't stick up to anybody. But then he calls them a coward, and they're ready to fight to the death.
Yes.
I love being called a coward and it being the last straw. Traitors getting theirs. Gosh, it's so good when absolute traitors get theirs. You know what holds up that I need to do more that I just did? Who did I just do it to yesterday? I love picking people up by their forearms. I love that. They don't do it by the hands. Yeah. By the forearms. They both know
that's a good one.
It's a good one. I love what holds up is that innately I just think that the Scots and the Irish are better than the Brits. I just kind of like that. That holds up. I don't know why. I just think Scotland and Ireland are better than England. I don't know why.
I think I agree.
And then finally, what holds up is a great torture kit for a reason. I mean, what a great...
I thought of that when that guy laid it out.
The guy in Limitless, the Russian gangster, brings a torture kit. Who packs it? Who brings it? They needed it. They needed it. Kit that's rolled out is just perfect. It's perfect.
Ooh, another what would you do? Wow.
I'd be French kissing that emblem.
All right. What else holds up from my end? The M. Kevin Lawhon would just be freedom, I think.
Dang it.
Something that would hold up. The Scottish countryside, just beautiful. I was in Ireland, I guess 6-7 years ago. It's just really a lot of vast open green space over there. Really beautiful. Bagpipes, I think, hold up. Bobby, I always just like that sound. You're at Pebble Beach.
On outlawed pipes.
It's a good one. Speaking of that, accents. Where do you think the Scottish accent? I love it.
I got a Hall of Fame plaque. I'm best accent, which I think we've done before, but it's incredible.
Great leaders hold up, right? Yeah. I mean, Maximus, William Wallace, just you need people like that in the world, great leaders. You know what I also like, Bob? No matter how big of a badass you are, William Wallace, clearly a badass, takes time to pray. Before we're going in battle, he's praying. He's praying to have a good death, give me the strength to get through what's about to happen. And then, Bob, I have a question. Do kilts hold up? What are your feelings on kilts? Seems like it'd be freeing.
I got questions on the kilts. I got questions on the kilt. No, they do not hold up. You can't walk around in a kilt. If you see a guy walking around in a kilt, you're calling him names under your breath. It's not come on.
That's what I had. All right, let's move into some plot questions about the movies. I think we've addressed the historical inaccuracies. We've taken some liberties and the runtime. We're very critical of runtimes. This is probably 30, 40 minutes too long, but what do you got, Bobby?
We've already joked upon it, but let's talk about it. How does everyone hear? There's people in the back that are like, all right, let's get out of here. And then they all start running about, I guess we're going to battle. They don't know who they're following. They don't know how communication is just difficult. There's flags and stuff, I guess. How do you ride a horse in a kilt? I mean, I guess, I don't know if underwear helps. I mean, it's still, there's a lot going on down there between your legs. How do you do that?
No Gold Bond back then either. The chafing had to be really something.
It's not more. It's just the banging. I don't know. The chafing is the least of your worries, I think. Right?
You're probably right.
How long has Logan Roy been old? This is 30 years ago, and he's old.
He's Gene Hackman. He's just that age.
How old is Logan Roy right now? He looks the same age back then.
Yeah, 30 years. He's the same dude. Great point. Yeah.
I'm not sure Longshank's son would be that gay.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, meaning he's just not going to let that happen. You can be gay, but you're not going to be so gay that everyone knows you're gay. That's not happening back then, right?
I don't think so. Question for you on Longshanks, Bob. Is he really, he's kind of doing what he's supposed to be doing, you know? I can't really fault the guy. I mean, he's the king, you know?
Is it in Bob's Big Questions or... Yeah, I've got Bob's Big Questions on that. Yeah, more on that. I'm
okay.
With you. So, famously, I'm a big hunter, right? I'm a big hunter. I got my camouflage hat on here, famously, and I haven't killed anything yet. So, which is weird for a big hunter as me. I haven't killed anything. But when you're in this deer stand, right, and you'll have does come, if God forbid you come back to life as a deer. It's the worst. I mean, I'm sitting there as quiet as possible, and they're constantly just on edge. They are. Now, not the deers I got behind my house. You could feed these deers, but the quote unquote wild. Yeah, I guess they're wild. No quote unquote, they're wild deer. They are on edge like you can't imagine. Just a cricket goes, and they're just all over the place. No way he sneaks up on that deer. There's no chance he sneaks up on that deer with that bow and arrow. William Wallace.
Oh yeah, and that's
You can't be walking through there. As a hunter, I know this. You know, you wouldn't know it. You're not a hunter. I'm a hunter. I kind of know these kind of things.
Okay.
Why don't we use the word sack anymore? Like, York just got sacked. I love that. I love that word. Why don't we use that word anymore?
Well, I guess football stole it. You know, like football just said, all right, that's a good word, sack, and then it's. Or Zach from, what was that, Wedding Crashers? Sack?
Yeah, Sack. Yeah. So her assistant goes to William Wallace to give her and no one talks. No one says, hey, the Queen's assistant went and saw this rebellion, and nobody says anything?
Yeah, you're not getting out of that castle. Not somebody know what's going on.
No. What material was used to create these fires on this battlefield? They shoot, so it's the greatest trope of all time in these battles. They walk and then they shoot fire arrows behind them, but it's a blazing inferno.
Well, they laid tar there.
But what? But you can't. The amount of tar that was needed to make this fire would be football fields worth of tar, right?
I get, but tar, clearly a weapon of choice back in the day. And that, when they're charging that one castle and they light up the thing on fire and then throw the tar over and you get lit on fire, that's a bad way to go. Who drew that short straw? All right, Ram, you're part of the Ram team.
Yeah, the Ram team is not great. It's not great.
Yeah.
So she comes in and gives him the potion, and he's like, I can't take it. I need my wits. And then he kisses her. Yeah. And then spits it out. So I said, hey, Mary, I'm going to kiss you with this. She wouldn't let me do it. I wanted to put water in my mouth, kiss Mary, and see if I can do it. My guess is you can't do that, right?
No chance. And it wasn't just a lip kiss. I mean, he was getting after it a little bit. Point. Yeah.
And as a question, why wouldn't Mary let me do that? What other woman am I going to do this with? Like, she's forcing me into another woman's arms because I can't practice a Braveheart kiss with her.
That's great.
How did the purple flower keep its color after 30 years? I mean, that flower, that makes no sense.
No.
And then the biggest question of them all, which I still cannot reconcile. We're on this rebellion. Yes, it's for Scotland, but it's to revenge my dead wife, and he sleeps with the Queen. Like, it's
probably my biggest beef. Did we need the William Wallace Isabella romance? What point did it serve?
He sleeps with her?
I mean, I guess they wanted the line that she could whisper into Longshank's ear that your blood dies with you. I'm basically God, William Wallace's. But again, not true. And I don't think we needed it. I don't think we needed it.
No.
Because he's always talking about how Murrow sees everything you did. And then, like, as he's dying, he's looking at her. It's the first thing she said to him, like, hey, dude, why'd you sleep with the Queen? You know? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so, like, when he's getting tortured, she sees him, she's like, dude, come on.
All right, I got a couple questions for you, Bobby. That was the biggest one I had about do we need the William Wallace Isabella romance? I don't think we need that. Bob, you do not have hair anymore, but back in the day, do you think you could have pulled off long hair like William Wallace in the Scotsman?
Yeah, I never did it. I don't know why. God, I would. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. Mark, the way I describe my hair, life is about having options. Like your kids got to go to school, not because we think school is this ticket to like perfect life, but it gives you options.
Correct.
I would like to have options. I've got one option, and you're looking at it right here. That's all I got. One option.
It's freshly shaven there.
It was. We're heading out of town. Although my kids want me to, because the side grows extremely fast. Just like poof it out here. That'd be kind of cool.
I like it. Bob, these battles, this charging into battles, there's some skill, but isn't it somewhat lucky to survive this initial clash?
I've got some questions. I've got some Bob's big questions on that. It's just I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know how it worked, but apparently that's what they did. I mean, there's no guns. There's no, apparently it's what they did.
Yeah. The torture at the end, great scene. I'm sure we'll spend a lot of time talking about that. A Rudy Sack Award. What public torture? Like, do they have to? Are you required to go if you're under Longshank supervision? Like, do you want to be out there? Like, would you go to the public torture?
There's no TV. There's no Netflix. There's no entertainment. It's just something to do. It's just like this is what we're doing. I don't.
Oh, so you're taking this is the most exciting thing happening. Like, oh wait.
What else am I gonna do? What else are you gonna do? But no, I would hope that if I lived during those times, I would not take my kids.
Yeah, the little kids in there, kind of something. So supposedly in history, Robert the Bruce does not betray William Wallace. But for the purposes of this question, in the movie he's betrayed by him. Would he trust him again? I mean, Hamish and Stephen are like, you're walking into a trap.
Now, no way. And does he not kill him when he rips the thing off? Now, the acting in that scene, so incredible. Wallace just cannot believe, cannot believe he's been betrayed. I just don't know how he doesn't slit his throat. I mean, he killed those other people for betraying. How doesn't he betray him right there on the battlefield?
And how uncomfortable would that like metal tin can with the little slit that Robert the Bruce is wearing? That doesn't seem very efficient in a battle.
No. A guy would have to be like 3 degrees to your right and you can't see him. Stupid.
All right, let's get into some awards, Bobby. I want you to rename this. The Denzel Washington Award for the biggest badass in the movie is clearly William Wallace, unless you pivoted here.
No, it's William Wallace. Come on, man. William Wallace, for sure, biggest badass.
One of the biggest badasses in movie history. The Matthew McConaughey Award for the best scene stealer of the movie. I thought this guy had just ran away with this thing. Who do you got?
Yeah, my honorable mention is the guy who delivered the head of the guy of York. He was so terrified. I love that. He's like, whoa. I love that. But no, it's Stephen the Irishman is the scene stealer. 100%. Right, that's who you got, right?
Yeah, David O'Hara. Do you know what other big movie that we love he's in, Bob? He's Fritzy from The Departed.
Oh, yeah, he is. That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
he was great. I thought I'd forgotten, his part. He was terrific, right?
Oh, yeah. Smart enough to get a dagger past your guards, old man.
I think we're going to both go in the same direction here because you've kind of teed it up, Bobby. But the Big Tom Callahan Award for Best Parent has to be Logan Roy, right?
I went with Hamish's dad. I love Hamish's dad. He was awesome. Just all the one-liners he had. He's like, some men are big. Hamish goes, as big as a man. Some men are bigger than others. Your mother been telling stories about me again, boy. When he gets hit with that arrow, and Hamish tries to take it off, and he just whacks him. Just get off of me. And then when he takes the arrow out, and they burn him, and then he just smacks the guy who did it. That's James Cosmo Campbell was his name. That's who I had.
Yeah, no, he was good. And what I love about Hamish is that's one of your guys, Brendan Gleeson. You love that guy. Excited about the Hall of Fame plaque to come for him. I went with Brian Cox, Logan Roy, Argyle. He takes in William Wallace at a young age, really teaches him. Look, learning Latin and French really paid off for William Wallace. Taught him, first I teach you this, points to his head, and then I teach you this, points to the sword. So clearly he did a fantastic job. The Jenny Award, Bob, for the worst parent.
Yeah, your gut instinct is to go with Longshanks, but again, we'll talk about it a little bit. He's the king. But it's the leper. It's Robert the Bruce's dad. I mean,
correct.
You just can't teach your kid to be a snake. Now there is, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Like, you've got to, but all the reasons he gave was just to make him richer. It wasn't like, you can't have every decision based on land and title and money.
Supposedly did not have leprosy. I don't know why they gave him leprosy, but Robert the Bruce's dad, I agree, Bob. Ian Bannon. The word, it was just awful. Yeah, I thought initially coming into it, you're like, all right, Longshanks is going to be bad. And look, he's painted as the villain. I was almost like, I was kind of sympathetic towards Longshanks, maybe. A little bit, just doing what he had to do, I think.
I think. We'll see.
This one was a little bit tricky. Not a lot of trinkets running around here, Bob, but the eBay award for the item from the movie that you'd most want.
It's the sword, and
Sword.
I've told this story before. So in like 99, like 2000, 2001, I'm at Florida. I'm a manager, and this is no,
right.
99, 2000, because it's pre 9/11. We would travel with a Braveheart sword for the Florida basketball team.
How big was it?
It weighed 80 pounds. It was this big sword, and he wouldn't even reference Braveheart. He would just bring it out, and and it was awesome. Like, Well, we're at Vanderbilt, and we always got our asses kicked at Vanderbilt. It's kind of this weird locker room underneath there, and in visitors' locker room, it's usually pretty terrible. But they got whiteboards because you're doing game notes, and it's a rolling whiteboard. And like we would go behind the whiteboard, depending where it was, to manager, you're just trying to disappear, but you got to get guys towels and food and drinks, but you're trying to do it and not mess them up. So we were going behind this board. Now, again, I admittedly have probably exaggerated this, but we were playing so bad. Billy takes the sword and he throws it through the board like he's William Wallace. Now, I don't think it almost hit me, but the way I remember it is the sword went like right here, right in front of my face.
What a story I would have had later in life. What happened to Bob? He was killed by Billy Donovan in the Vanderbilt locker room.
I think Billy's career would have went slightly different. Although, if he wins games, nobody cares because, the Florida Gator basketball coach now allegedly sends pictures of his genitalia to college women, and no one cares. He got a contract extension because he won a national championship. No one cares.
Allegedly.
Listen, allegedly.
Yeah, I think so. You would like in carry-on luggage have the William Wallace sword like
Well,
on a commercial flight.
No, we were at that point we were chartering flights.
Okay.
So
Talk about something that wouldn't hold up. That would really be. It
was awesome. Where is that sword right now? I got to figure out where that sword is right now.
You think he pulls it out with the Bulls? I mean, there's pro guys that look at him like he was nuts, right? They haven't even seen the movie. Yeah.
Coach, relax. They weren't even born. I mean, none of these players were born when that came out.
Well, whether or not any of these decisions actually happened or not is irrelevant, Bob. We need to determine what the Terrence Howard Award is for the worst decision. Is it trusting Robert the Bruce again?
No, that's too practical. That's not. Using the fake horse, it's a bad decision.
Mel directing, that's a bad decision for Mel.
If you have to edit it in a way where everyone doesn't know it's a plastic horse, it's just a bad decision. But the worst decision is, hey, I'm going to this battle. Don't you think a shield bigger than this would be great, knowing they're going to shoot arrows at you? Were the arrows a surprise? Was like an arrow a new invention? Only half of the people had shields. Why are they this big? They're getting hit in the leg. That didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I thought the shield defense was really bad. You know how you're like, yeah, we're playing the Packers this week. The run defense isn't very good. We got to attack them on the ground. So the English are like, look, these guys don't handle the aerial attack very well. Just the archer. It seems like, would the archer be the best job in the military back then? You kind of off the grid a little bit, just slinging arrows.
No, I think this like the scribe. Is the bad. I don't want to be involved in any of it.
Guy holding the flag.
The flag bearer. Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
Although they said,
the
king is clearly the best job. Although in the Civil War or the American Revolution, they said holding the banner, the flag was the worst job because they could always know where you were. It's like below that is a dude.
You remember what Dad did in Vietnam? He did the second worst job, second highest death rate. The first is a helicopter pilot. Helicopter rating in Vietnam is negative. Because you can see, and then the radio guy because he's got 2 point. One, he's got this big damn
antenna,
walkie-talkie antenna, and then hey, if you take out communications, you got the upper hand. So that's what Dad did.
Oh, I think I'd rather be the antenna guy than the guy that was like, all right, go in the hole, and they would find the little hole. Come on,
Just
tough job.
Not doing it.
Yeah, that was so basically the guy creating the shields for the Scottish army is just like when they walked in, they're like,
or the guys that didn't bring a shield to battle. They're just made of wood. I mean, like,
yeah, woefully underprepared. Yeah, they were big underdogs there. All right, it's time in Braveheart, Bobby, one of the greatest movies ever made, for your big questions.
Ever had a hair long enough to braid?
No. I think I would have loved to have tried it. I'm always, Brad Pitt kind of grows the hair out. It looks really cool. I just think for me, it goes really badly. Kind of like wearing the cowboy hat, kind of like getting on the horse. My hair just wouldn't grow very well. It's very thick and like kind of.
Like, here's the $1 million question: could you grow it out? You think?
It just gets bushy. It doesn't go that way. It just just gets bushy.
It'll eventually. It's not going to be an afro.
I guess maybe when I retire, I just let it go. Just turn into like Castaway. See what happens.
That's your answer for way too many things. It's like, when are you going to play golf on a Friday? When I retire.
Well, no, but I can't look like I can't look disheveled in front of customers. Right?
Listen, this is post-COVID. Like, I was just at a meeting of high-end advisors, and there was some inappropriate dress. Let me just say that. Mark, ever punch a friend? I mean, there's a lot of punching of friends in this movie. Have you ever punched a friend?
Not in the face. I mean, Hamish would just take a crack at William Wallace every now and again. No, not in the face. You?
And I think, Mark, have you ever been punched in the face hard?
Yeah, like almost knocked my hearing out. Took a cheap shot in a bar one time. Yeah, it just rang for days.
Yeah, You're just like, Hamish, good to see you. You just got destroyed in the chin.
Yeah, Hamish might break William Wallace's jaw. And what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. All right, Mark, we talked about what holds up is marrying your rival's kid to then make alliance. Mark, you've had I don't know, 30 minutes to think about this. Ellie and Chelsea, who's your rival that you could marry your daughter to then get an upper hand in life?
Yeah, rival stuff. I have been thinking about it. I've been encouraging my daughters to marry Charlie Woods because I think that would be incredible to have T-Dub as your guy. Like, hey, where we playing this week, T? Although it'd probably be one of those situations where he would just ignore me. Right? It'd be the ultimate pull, and then you just get ignored. So on that vein, Bob, I'm not a fan of these live guys, but the rich, right? So we're going to marry off into the Mickelson family. How about that?
And this helps you how? Other than
golf,
the money?
Golf, private jets, money, power.
Good enough reason. Good enough reason. Mark, how did you propose? There was a kind of an awkward proposal for marriage in this meeting. How'd you propose?
It was at Lake Eola, just a beautiful spot there in Orlando. I was young, didn't have a ton of money, but said we were going to I think I tricked her. We were going to Cats, Broadway musical. We weren't. I don't think I could afford the tickets. Took her to a nice dinner. There's a fountain around a lake. People from Orlando are listening will know what I'm talking about. That's how I did it. You? Okay. I think I was there. I was at a golf weekend, wasn't it?
Hammock Beach. Again, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. We were at Hammock Beach, and we went to dinner, and then my idea was we're gonna drive back to the hotel, and I'm gonna park, and we're gonna go on the beach. Okay. Well, I didn't do any research. I don't think there's internet, so I don't know where to stop. I'm like, you want to go on the beach at night? She's like, no, I'm tired. I want to go home. I'm like, no, we're going on the beach. We're going on the beach. And then we pulled over. She's like, we can't park here. I was like, just get out of the damn car. It wasn't great. And, I got down on one knee on the beach or on a boardwalk to the beach. So it ended up good, but it was funny no, we're walking on this beach, Mary. That's what we're doing.
I can picture Mary. So, no, I'm tired. We're not doing anything. Let's go. Let's go home. Time to go home. We're going home. We're going home now.
So, on this thing of proposals, I think we've asked this before. If you find out that Chelsea proposed to the man or Ellie proposed to the man, that wedding's off, correct?
Correct. Or if the guy doesn't come ask my permission, that would really set a bad tone.
Bad tone.
Yeah. I'm all for a girl dad, right? Girl power, this, that, and the other. But I'm always like, look, he didn't pay for dinner, or you're buying movie tickets. I don't know. I think there's some things that should remain.
100%. Yeah, you open the doors, you pay for everything. That's just the way. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is.
This is a Mark's big beef. Bob, you got to train Sam. Half of these guys now, they don't know how to shake your hand. They won't look you in the eye. They don't know how to carry on a conversation. If Sam can just walk into the girl's house, hey, Mr. So-and-so, shake him in the hand, look him in the eye, just have a little repartee, top 1%. It's gotten bad.
Mark,
Parents out there, do a better job with your sons.
Mark, this isn't like, oh, look at me, look how great I am. For whatever reason, I think I've taught it. Sam is fantastic at it. Like,
Good.
he is really, really good at it. He's done a great job doing that. All right, Mark, you already talked about it, so you got a choice. You've got to be on the horse that is just going into this pile of men. Now, we didn't know they had those Punjab sticks. Or jail. On the horse, front lines, smashing him, or jail. Which one are you choosing?
I'm on the horse. I got the high ground, which, as we've learned from Obi-Wan, is the key.
But I think this might be the key. Play this out.
You're choosing prison?
But listen to this, Mark.
Okay.
Listen to this, Mark. Play this out. In what world does anyone survive the initial? So you run through it, you miss the stick, like you're going to die. You're going to die.
That's what I'm saying. How did anyone ever survive these things? I think it's just like luck of the draw. You don't look. Were there uniforms? Yes, but you're just kind of swinging that sword like like a melee. Crazy.
Okay. We already talked about this. Do kings and rulers need to be this ruthless? So it's like, hey, you're going to go negotiate. Well, I've already sent. It doesn't matter what happens at the negotiation. I've already sent them archers, but won't we hit our own men? Yeah, but we'll hit some of them too. Mm-hmm. Like, do they need to be this ruthless? I think in this time they probably do, right?
I think you had to, right? I mean, you just had to just strike so much fear. You're just ruling out of fear, right? Because because you've got to be thinking at some point, all these peasants down there are going to be like, what are we doing here? I'm tired of this. I think you just had to strike so much fear, which is why I think you were required to go watch this public torture, because he's like, here's what we do for tyranny, just to scare you.
Yeah. So at the end, she realizes that he can't talk. So she says, basically, I'm going to kill your son. Your son is a weakling. Your son is a weakling. And she's got William Wallace in her belly. Mark, what secret, let's reveal it right now, would you tell someone that can't talk? Mark, go ahead.
Whew, man. It's a great, you stumped me, Bob. I don't know that stumped me.
It's a trick question, Mark, because if you tell it, we can
now it's not a secret anymore.
It's great. But everybody, I don't know if I can think of anything, but you got this guy, you can tell one secret to that he can never tell. What do you do? All right, Mark, last one, Bob's big question, kind of a closest to the pin. This is kind of hard. Braveheart is not one of them, but the 5 most critically acclaimed movies of all time. Now, that's kind of like, what is the definition? But most nominations, most this, most that. And the list that I saw were pretty accurate into where they're all named in the first top 5. So, top 5 most critically acclaimed movies of all time.
According to?
Who knows?
Oh, Citizen Kane, I think is.
Nope.
Gone with the Wind?
Nope.
Godfather?
No.
Gladiator?
Number 5, Slumdog Millionaire.
I didn't care for that. Did you?
I mean, it was fine. Number 4, La La Land. Now again, what are we talking about on it? But just number 3, Ben-Hur. Number 2, Titanic. Number 1, Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Most critically acclaimed movie of all time. Now, most critically acclaimed.
Great speech in front of men. What's he saying? The courage of men. What? And there was look. William Wallace had a couple hundred behind him. I think what's Aragon's got thousands of dudes with him, right?
I don't even think they all speak English.
That's a great point. Great point.
That's it.
That's all right. Nice. Beautiful job out of you. All right, Bobby, I think we know where we're going here. I was shocked at the amount of emotion I felt into the scene, but the Rudy Sack Award, I mean, the end, the draw, I was like, the whole lead up to it was outstanding, correct?
It was fantastic. And the most emotional part of it is not when he cries freedom. You can make an argument that that's a little corny, that's like a little over the top, but Hamish and Steven are just like, man, just it's okay, buddy. Just kiss the emblem, get the quick deaths. And then when he cries freedom, Hamish I got goosebumps now. He just closes his eyes. He's like, I can't believe this guy is just this awesome. So yeah, it was very, very good.
That great point. How did those two guys get in there? I had a question, but yes, when they're just like, all right, dude, you've made your point.
Yeah.
You've proven it. Just incredible. I thought the whole lead up when they wheel him in there, the drum is going. You know something bad's going to happen. The acting, again, I thought was really good. I mean, you feel like his intestines are being ripped from his body, right? Incredible. And then that axe just kind of coming down. And then Murrow walking by going, you son of a bitch. You slept with her, didn't you?
Are you serious? She goes, serious?
We're going to have a chat. Once you pass over here into the other side.
Well, you're awesome lithium, and you're already dead.
Yeah, awesome scene. And look, another tie-in. Both of our heroes in Gladiator and Braveheart both die at the end. Freedom, as he yells out. All right, we clearly don't need a different ending, right, Bob? This is a quote-unquote true story. I mean, the Scottish do win their independence. Whether or not you want to call that the ending of it, the drawn and quarter thing is unbelievable. But I have a question for you, Bobby. So, like, William Wallace begins this rebellion. Robert the Bruce leads them. They become independent. If William Wallace was to come back and just, see what's going on now, they're not independent anymore. As of 1700, they joined back up with the UK, and I'm sure they had good reasons for it, but they're technically not an independent country. Bob, I ask you, is William Wallace rolling over in his grave?
Well, it's hard to roll over when you don't have a head, isn't it? Like, if you don't have a head, it's hard to roll over. And his ligaments are all stretched and haven't hurt so bad. So I'm going to say no because he's not able to.
Obviously, Bob, getting drawn, which is when they take your insides out. What do you think would have been the worst, the hanging or the stretching? Kind of like the preamble to the killing. What would be the worst part of that?
Yeah, I don't know. The hanging.
Hitting
his neck. He's got that huge Adams. I don't have a big Adams out. He's got that huge Adams.
Enormous Adams. What is that?
I don't know, but gosh, it had to hurt so bad. The thing, sometimes listen. Unfortunately, my son has.
Do they do it too hard? And it just pops off?
I think I would enjoy the draw. Just good stretch.
Traction. Yeah, traction.
Good stretch. So, yeah, I think I would enjoy that. And I would just be like, the hanging would be tough.
Yeah, that would be tough. And as you said, you'd have been French kissing that emblem on that guy.
Oh, my God.
That guy's
I would
cloak.
drink all that potion. I would have gone in there and been like, let's do this. Woo!
Unbelievable. All right, Hall of Fame plaques. Just have two. And I was excited that Hamish was Brendan Gleeson, a guy that you have glossed on this podcast a time or two. He's General Brigham in Edge of Tomorrow. You were all over him there, Bob. You love him there. He's great as Hamish. Banshees of Inisherin, a movie look, it's good. I like it. You ever see In Bruges, Bob? It's him and Colin Farrell. Again, a real dark. You would like it because it's this guy and Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Getting after it. But what's your guy's Hall of Fame plaque? I'd forgotten he was Hamish, so I'm not sure I could think of that, but maybe now I will. Where are you going?
I think it's Hamish. I think it's Hamish. He's awesome.
Yeah. Great character, right?
The
Hamish?
The best.
Good buddy. Mel Gibson, one of the great guys of our time. I love him. To your point, he's kind of just been, I guess, canceled a little bit. Some of it is his fault. Some of it is he's a conservative. He supports Trump. So you can't exist in Hollywood. He's got to make all these movies on his own. But listen to these guys that he could be, Bob. Mad Max, which was his origin story. William Wallace, going to be tough to beat. He's the same guy in The Patriot, but an American, but same dude. We loved him in Signs. Riggs from Lethal Weapon. So it's Mad Max, Riggs, William Wallace, Bob, or when I say ransom, what comes to mind?
Give me back my son! Sometimes you say, Chevy Chase, it's hard to get two characters. Chevy's has three.
Yeah.
I mean, Mad Max, Riggs, and Braveheart? I mean, that's incredible. I think of him as Braveheart. I think of him as William Wallace.
Yeah, I think I'd go there as well. Where do you come down on The Patriot, Bob?
Just okay.
It's kind of like this, but just not as good and long, very long.
And it's got an incredible scene. Him covered in blood is just amazing. It's amazing.
Do you think you'd look that good? Blue paint and blood all over you?
I was going to do blue paint for this podcast. I couldn't. I didn't have time to go get it.
Okay. It would have matched Kentucky. Kentucky blue would have been apropos. What Hall of Fame plaques you got, Bobby?
Movies with the word heart in it. Braveheart, Whisper of the Heart, Murmur of the Heart, Angel Heart, Crazy Heart, Wild at Heart, In the Heart of the Sea, Heart of Atlantis, Purple Hearts, and strangely, no movie named Queen of Hearts.
Yeah,
no
that's
movie?
a miss. That's a miss. I like Crazy Heart, but Braveheart, clear winner.
Braveheart, clear winner. All right, best instrument. Just best instrument, period. Bagpipes is one.
Yeah, wow.
What an instrument, the bagpipes.
Agreed.
So you got, this is a tough question. Bagpipes, drums, guitar, both acoustic and electric, piano, harmonica, the flute, the saxophone, the synthesizer, the trumpet, the cello, the violin, and the diddy-guradu, which is basically the Dune thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
That thing's awesome.
That's awesome. I can't pronounce it, so I won't do it. Bagpipe is great, but I will tell you this. A guitar, just whipping out a guitar and being able to sing is undefeated. Just had the grad party here for the girls. You know, they just graduated, a get-together party. And one of the brothers just was like, hey, turn the music down. And just started ripping out some tunes. And, man, he was the most famous guy at that party. It was awesome. I wish I could do it. And there's something I could do if I just dedicated myself.
So what did you just say?
Guitar.
Yeah, you can play the guitar. Is that what you just said? Yeah, I can learn it. That's fine.
I just need time. Like getting on a horse. What if I could get on a horse, look good in a hat, play the guitar?
Isn't that like an Old Spice commercial? Like a guy on a horse playing the guitar? All right. Best face paint in a movie. I couldn't find much. All I had was the Joker, Braveheart, Commando at the end, Predator with the mud. Like,
gosh, these are great.
Paint. There's got to be more. There has to be more.
Wow. The Joker's I'm talking Heath Ledger Joker, is really good. Is this the most iconic? The blue and the white?
So,
right?
What movie am I thinking of where he puts blood like this? What is that?
Is that Rambo? Did Rambo do that?
It might be.
Yeah,
it might be. All right. Best medieval weapon. Okay. So you got the sword. It's good. You've got the warhammer, which in our favorite scene, that guy is just running and Poz goes bang, like it had to hurt.
What do you think that thing weighs? Did you do any like?
No, I don't know.
What's it called? The warhammer?
It's a warhammer, but it's just a big sled. Yeah. You're running and you're like, what's going to happen to me? And then you just get hit with this hammer. Gosh, it had to hurt so bad. A flail is the ball and chain that he hits the guy with, which is the spike ball.
It's pretty good.
There's a battle axe and then a double-headed battle axe where there's axes on each side. There's a mace, and a mace is a spiky ball on a stick. And then you've got a spear and a crossbow. Best medieval weapon, Mark.
It's cool as...
And that deer.
the deer. Well, you got to be really up close and personal to use that deer thing. The warhammer, as cool as it is, seems like a lot of work. I mean, that's a big. You're really exposed, right? That's a big wind up to kind of unleash that thing. I think the double sword thing, right? The hatchet that's pretty good.
The double-headed battle axe.
Yeah, I think that's
probably good. And then the last one, best accent. Okay, Scottish, Irish, British, Cockney British, South African, Australian, Canadian, and Boston accent.
Gosh, that's tougher than the South Africa kind of threw me for a loop. I love hearing those guys talk. Blood Diamond, we'll have to pull that one out. I am big fans of the Irish, and I almost kind of put the Irish and Scottish together. It's like a fun accent.
That's your winner. I think
that's my winner. You going Cockney?
I'm going Cockney. Yeah. Although I saw some stand-up comedian saying like it's hard to have an emergency if you're in Australia because everybody warns you in Australian accent, and it just sounds awesome. Like, yeah, boy, there's a tsunami coming. You know.
That would be funny. Great job, Bobby, on your Hall of Fame plaques. That's it, correct?
That's it. That's it. Great job. You win.
Can there be another MVP other than Mel Gibson, Bob?
No,
I mean, he directed and starred. He kind of owns it. Did it all.
Did it all.
Bobby, on the Pozcast predictions, where we end here, did you listen back last week? You said Scotty Scheffler, and you gave JT Poston a backdoor top 10. He didn't have a backdoor top 10. He came in like third. So good on you.
Got it done.
Robert Montgomery Knight. In keeping with the Scotty Scheffler theme, who, look, I mean, this guy might be. I guess we all thought it was Rory. It might be this guy. He's sitting on 3 majors. I got your over-under, Bobby, at 5.5. What are you taking with Scheffler?
It's probably the perfect. It's probably the perfect. But I probably would say over. I think he's going to be like Tiger, where every other Masters he's going to be right in there for it. It seems like he's got Augusta's number, so I think I'll take the over.
Strangely, I will too. Now, it's amazing. You start looking at it, like 6 majors, you're one of the 10 best guys that's ever lived. That's why these things are really, really, really hard to do. But I think this guy's like almost too good, too unflappable, too just there. Like, he will be there at Oakmont, whether or not he wins or not, but it's a top 5 just waiting to happen, correct?
You would think so.
Any other predictions?
Depending on if JT Poston really gets his short game in order.
Anything other predictions, Bobby? Kentucky, do they make it?
Selection Monday.
Monday they go with. Okay.
Selection Monday. They got swept by Vandy, lost their first SEC tournament. Every publication has them in as a 3 seed, but we'll see.
All right, Braveheart. That was a blast, Bobby. One of the all-timers. Go check it out if you haven't seen it in a while. We'll see you next time on the podcast.